So this is the California Voter Guide all summed up. If you want to get more details on the propositions, I will link to each of the propositions and the measures of San Bernardino specifically for the measures. But the propositions for all Californians will be listed all below in individual YouTube links in which I have broken them all down. Okay, so Prop 14, voting no because it authorizes $5.5 billion in state bonds to fund the California Institute for Regenerative Medicine, CIRM, which would increase your taxes, and the board member of CIRM is also opposed to this proposition. So there's no reason for us to vote for Proposition 14 when the board member is also advising against it. No on Prop 15 because that increases funding for government programs by $6.5 billion by increasing taxes on businesses that have already been suffering, especially through this pandemic, and they probably won't be around to tax after the pandemic if all these companies are leaving California for Texas and North Dakota or South Dakota, one of those Dakotas. Basically, a lot of businesses are leaving the state because they're suffering under all the regulations and the taxes and the pandemic. So if there's no businesses left to tax and they're going to implement a tax on more businesses, then more people are going to leave, which means there's going to be less businesses and less independent businesses specifically to be able to operate. It's going to be bad for California. So no on 15. Also, no on 16. This one's actually very important. Very important that you vote no on 16. That one, I highly recommend you visit the YouTube link for Prop 16 in the description because I break down a lot more of the details. But basically, it legalizes discrimination based on immutable characteristics. And it's written very deceptively. It's written as if it's all about diversity, but it's actually a proposition that's going to impose discrimination. So please, this is the only one I would ask that you visit the YouTube link to get more details. Yes on Prop 17, which restores a person's voting rights upon completing their prison term. If you have served your time, you should deserve, your rights in full again, depending on, what kind of crimes you committed. No on Prop 18, which gives voting access to the TikTok teens. Come on now, let's not let these teens on TikTok have voting access. No on Prop 19, which would require property transferred within families to be reassessed to market value as of the date of transfer, which would result in huge property tax increases, especially for your new homeowner, which would be detrimental to you if you're trying to buy a new home. The only exception is if your heirs move in within a limited of time of inheriting property from someone who may have been deceased in your family. So it leaves you a little window of time. It's like this is a courtesy, but other than that, we're raising them taxes. Yes on Prop 20, which closes a loophole that allows sexual predators and people who are convicted of violent crimes from being released from prison early. No on Prop 21, which allows local governments to establish rent control on residential properties. If you own a home, the government pretty much gets to decide even more so what you get to do with it, pretty much is what happens. Yes on Prop 22, which gives independent contract workers the freedom to make their own hours with app-based companies like Lyft and Ubers. No on Prop 23, which gives local governments power over dialysis clinics, which is crazy because it's like, you're the government, you're not a doctor. Leave the clinics alone. No on Prop 24, which is a tax increase for privacy that will act as a toll road for those who can afford the privacy and access to an internet that isn't being jammed. No on Prop 25, which replaces bail bonds with computer algorithms to determine if you are released from jail before trial. It's like China's social credit system, but for bail. Don't let the computer algorithms determine if you get to go free. Bail sucks, but it's a lot better to have the option of being able to set yourself free rather than a computer deciding, are you going to be a risk or not? Crazy. Okay, so the San Bernardino measures, I'm voting no on Measure J, which is a deceptive measure about reforming the San Bernardino County Charter, but it's actually about maintaining their extremely high compensation at the expense of us, our taxes. Basically, they're going to raise your taxes so they can get more money. Like their paychecks will get fatter. Yes on Measure K, which is it's the initiative that Measure J is fighting against. Basically, Measure K was implemented, and when the county board officials saw Measure K, they implemented J to try to battle it. Basically, Measure K removes incentives for these representatives to take advantage of their positions for financial gain at the expense of us, the taxpayers, by reducing their salaries and their term limits. And hopefully this would attract representatives who are interested in serving the public and not interested in joining these government positions because of the high salaries. No on Measure S, which is a tax increase in return for things they promised to help us with, but they never help us with anyways. Basically, Measure S is a tax increase that they're using to promise to increase funding for schools and roads and all that, but they increase the tax every year and they never fix the roads or the schools or these community programs. So no on Measure S, because they should be spending the money that they've already taken from us. Yes on Measure U. This one was a little difficult because it's, the fire department is very important. However, as taxpayers, we should be involved in how much of the money they're going to determine that they're going to take from us. I'm all for a fire department, but it's just we should be involved when they take money from us involuntarily. What happened is they implemented a tax involuntarily on us. And it's like, I want to support you guys. I want to support the fire department, but we need to be involved in making those decisions. So yes on Measure U. That pretty much sums it up. There's one person in particular who I wanted to mention. Tressie Capps, who is a member of the toll-free IE program. She's running for one of the nonpartisan offices, member governing board of the San Bernardino Unified School District. I'm voting for her because she has implemented a program, or she was helping part of implementing this program, which would keep toll roads out of the Inland Empire. You know how, like, basically if you're going westbound on the 10 freeway and you pass the 57 junction, and then you start seeing the toll roads for the 10 freeway to get into the carpool lane, and then and then at that point you have to pay to use the toll road. They've been trying to do this in the Inland Empire for years, and she's been strong in fighting against it. So Tressie Capps, if you're in San Bernardino, I support you. But other than that, hopefully this election is safe and secure. And I hope you guys are safe and secure with your families. And thanks for tuning in. And if you, like I said again, if you're interested in seeing a more in-depth analysis on these measures and the propositions, they are all linked in the description down below. Thanks for your time.